Oh boy, it's a Gundam Build Divers, a side story manga mobile suit. No, actually, I'm really super excited for this kit. I'm not really sure why, but it's a really interesting design, I think, and it's a really interesting combination of some different design aspects taken from a few different other mobile suits and all that. So let's get into it. This is the HD Build Divers Gundam Shining Break. Now, again, this is from a side story manga, so that's why you wouldn't have recognized this from being in the show. I still have not watched the show either way, so I couldn't really say if this was in the show or not, but I know that it's from a manga because it says up here it's from the Build Divers Break. So there you go. It's a pretty interesting design. Yeah, obviously the shining part of its name, very reference there to the Shining Gundam with its head looking very much like that, and you can see some other like design aspects kind of mimicking the Shining Gundam in ways, but then otherwise like the transformation of the suit just kind of gives off a kind of Zeta vibe, but a lot of the designs of like the shield and the weapons especially, and parts of the design also give me kind of like a Gundam Age or Gundam 00 kind of feeling as well. So as far as I know, I think this is designed by the same designer who did all the 00 designs and all that, so that is probably why. So it's kind of like a space Zeta 00 version of the Shining Gundam, which is kind of interesting. So I don't know, it looks like a cool design, and the transformation actually doesn't look too bad either. So just a kind of typical space scene here. As far as the box art goes, it's fine. It's not really anything like the best box art I've ever seen, but it's pretty just standard HG build fighters, build divers kind of style artwork here on the front. So as always, guys, huge thank you to SA Gundam Store for sponsoring the review. Want to get that out of the way here first because those guys are awesome. And if you like the reviews, if you find my reviews helpful at all, then show them some love. At least head over there and say thank you. They got a new website, actually. Check the link to their website down below. Check out their new website. It's definitely an improvement, and you can save that coupon. You can save 10% with that coupon code there. As always, you guys know what's up. Just want to remind you, that's all down there in the video description. So check that out. This is number 22 in the Build Divers line. So even though this is in a side story, they're still counting it in, of course, in the main Build Divers line. Over here on the bottom of the box, we've got some action poses and things. So here's basically just the kind of the same pose that's on the front, recreated with the actual kit there. And it does look like it pulls it off pretty well. It's got just kind of standard fair beam rifle, beam sabers, but we have two different lengths of beam sabers. Again, I think that comes from Gundam 00, I believe. I can't remember for sure. Age or 00, where it came with the two different length beam sabers. But anyway, it's got those. It does also have the shield and the transformation. So again, the transformation, pretty Zeta Gundam-esque. But it looks pretty cool with the different wings and everything kind of poking out everywhere. But I'm worried how this is going to look from the bottom. I feel like from the bottom, probably not going to look as good, but we'll see anyway. A little advertisement here for other stuff in the line, some of which I've reviewed, some of which I have not. Over here on the other side, just a nice front and back view of what the kit is going to look like. Built up, painted up, panel lined up, but not decaled up. Never see any real decals on these. Some information here about the Shining Break and the introduction to the story. So there again, you can see that very, especially in this line art here, the artwork, they're very much looking like it's something from Gundam 00. And then no list price for this, again, starting from December last year. I guess we're not doing list price on these anymore. But for any of you who were wondering, the list price on this was 1,800 yen, so not too bad. It's a pretty good standard price for a nice, modern, transforming high grade that is all entirely new as far as I know. Maybe a couple of these joint parts or something like that might be carried over from a different kit, but for the most part, this should be a pretty entirely new kit. Now the standard color scheme is here. It's kind of blue, yellow, red, and white. The blue is though a darker navy blue though, so it's a little bit tweaked from the standard Gundam colors, but it's still relatively standard. So I think a different color scheme could end up looking pretty cool. But here we have just, of course, the cover art there once again, and then at the bottom you can see a larger version of the artwork which I was talking about. Again, it's obviously very much like something from Gundam 00 or Gundam Age there with that artwork, and the character design as well, I would say, also looking like it could be something from especially Gundam Age. But if you care to check it out, there's the information there in Japanese and English about the Gundam Shining Break and Arc, who the pilot there, and then Arc and Zen down there at the bottom there as well. If you want to read any of that, feel free to check that out. On the back here, our customized plan. This is based off of the HG 144 scale Shining Gundam. Never built that kit, but it does look like a pretty cool kit. Again, you can see, especially like the front skirts here are also, looking at it more closely, they almost look identical. So I kind of wonder if those are going to be the actual parts from that kit, if this is using runners. And yeah, based off of what we can see here on the parts list, jumping ahead just a little bit, runner B there on the parts list looks like this might be runners exactly from the Shining Gundam because there's a lot of X's on there, and so I guess we'll find out here in a moment when we take a look at the runners. But in the meantime, again, basically the same kind of stuff we saw on the outside of the box, different posing, different things, talking about the head unit, the beam rifle, the shield, the beam sabers, all pretty standard. But over here, this is pretty cool. This is about the Force ZAAZ, or ZAZ. And that logo is pretty cool. It would be really nice to see that come out in a water slide decal set sometime in the future if we get like a Build Divers themed water slide set out from Bandai. Hopefully they include that on there because it's a pretty cool logo. Wouldn't really be that hard to recreate if you wanted to get some logos, get some decals printed up on your own. I think that'd probably be easy enough to figure out in Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever. But again, more advertisements there at the bottom, and then the color guide there in Japanese and English. So again, very basic colors for that. Now, once again, just back to the parts list for a moment. I guess again, you can see what are probably the new parts here. Runner A, and then we also have runner A2, which is a copy of that, and I believe that should be a new runner, but I'm not really sure why they designed it in a way that they would need to give us two of it and give us a ton of leftover extra parts. So we've got A2 runner with a lot of X's, B1, B2, it's B1 times 2 with a lot of X's on there as well, and then a couple of parts X'd off here from the C runner as well. So very interested to see what these runners are from, because as far as I know, the A runner at least should be entirely all new. So I don't know, it's weird. Interested to see the runners now. But the construction is pretty normal, just going to be the body and head, arms, legs, feet, waist, and background here to our color pages, just finishing up that simple backpack. I like the backpack, simple, to the point. It's nice, and you can see even the sword hilts are two different lengths as well, so that's pretty cool. The shield and the beam rifle. The shield has a kind of transforming bit to that as well. That's pretty cool. And then how to transform it. Very simple, looks like, for the transformation. So I feel like from the bottom, probably not going to be looking the best, but from the top at least, it looks kind of cool. Let's get a look at the runners. Alright, so here are the foil stickers. Pretty minimal for this kit, basically just the eyes and the head cameras, and then just a few little black accents. I think these are probably for the front skirts, and these ones maybe also as well, or around there. But very minimal, so that's good. PC001 for our polycaps here in gray. And then runner SB5 here for our beam saber effect parts here in clear pink. Now again, this runner came out in 2002, so I'm not sure if this would be from Gundam 00 or before that actually. So I'm not sure what these beam saber effect parts are originally from. If you know, then tell me in the comments. So starting off here with runner A1, this is a completely new runner for this kit. This is labeled HG 1/44 scale Gundam Shining Break. Obviously it's 4 colors. We got just some standard red there at the bottom, white over here on the side, nice fluorescent clear green there at the top, and then some blue throughout the center, that dark navy blue. Now let's take a look at runner A2. Runner A2 is exactly the same, except the fluorescent green there at the top is now in yellow. Now it's kind of strange, because if you take a look at these parts, it's parts for the chest fans, those should be yellow. V-fin, that should be yellow. More fins on the head, those should also be yellow, but the front cockpit part should be only in that clear green. So I guess because they can only do 4 colors on a runner, they didn't want to have that one little green part as a separate part, as a completely separate runner on its own. So I don't know, the way that they did this just seems a little bit counterproductive. Some of these parts we are going to need doubles of, but a lot of the A2 runner is going to be X'd off, and then some of the A1 runner as well, parts that we won't end up using. But it is pretty cool that you are going to have like clear green parts for the V-fin if you wanted to use those instead. That could be pretty cool. And then runner B1 here, all in white, as I expected, is from the HG Future Century 1/44 scale Shining Gundam. So this kit came out in 2011, so these parts are going to be pretty old, but it's only going to be a small handful of parts that we're going to be using from this particular runner. And we've got 2 of them, so you'll have a lot of leftover parts here from the Shining Gundam there. Runner C1 in gray here is also from the original Shining Gundam, and this is a little bit more concerning because this is the joint parts and hand parts and things like that. And joints are where kits can really show their age. As we saw with the Tristan, it used the joint parts from the old Alex kit, and that was a really killing blow to that kit, and this could be the same for this. I don't think the articulation for this is going to be too bad. Based on images that I've seen, it doesn't look all that bad, but we'll have to see in the review. Using old joints is not really a good thing for the most part, but we'll find out. We do also have runner C2 as well, which is a copy of this section of the runner up here. And then for some reason, we skip all the way to runner I for this completely new runner for this kit. This is marked for the Gundam Shining Break, but I'm not really sure why they skipped a bunch of the alphabet to get to it. But anyway, this is just a few more parts here in gray, and we've got 2 of the I runner. So So that is it for the Gundam Shining Break. Looks like it's going to be really cool. Again, the joints have me a little bit worried, but I think it should be fine. Even if it can't get some really super acrobatic poses out of it, I think it does still look like a pretty cool just design in general. A new color scheme definitely going to be helpful to it, but still, it looks like a pretty interesting kit, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. Thank you guys so much for watching, of course. If you have questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. There's a lot to talk about with this kit, I think, for a kit that probably just flew under the radar for a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people probably didn't pay too much attention to it, but it's pretty interesting for me personally, so let me know what you think about it down in the comment section there. And as always, a huge thank you again to USA Gundam Store. I'll see you guys in the review. Bye-bye. Hey! Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you want to check the kit out for yourself, you can head over to USA Gundam Store. Use that coupon code ZakuAurelius10. Save yourself 10%. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.